But it doesn't just make you a fool. Pride makes you evil. Pride is what made the devil the devil. Since St. Augustine, Christian theology has understood that pride is not one sin among many, but really the root under all of them. Pride is the hellish spiritual petri dish that grows all kinds of stuff in your life. Let me show you. Bitterness. Some of us, many of us, struggle a great deal with bitterness and anger toward things that people have done or people have done to us or classes of people or individuals. There's many people whose lives are being distorted by anger, but remember this. You can't stay angry at someone. You can't stay resentful at someone unless you feel superior to them. There's no bitterness without pride, because you're saying, I would never do anything like that. And if your life is distorted by anger, it's because pride is at the root of it. Or what about paralyzing fear? Some people are paralyzed by worry. You know where that comes from? You know exactly how things have to go. You're sure you know what's best to happen in history, and it's got to be this, and if this doesn't happen, it'll be a disaster, and you're freaking out about it. Why? Because you know exactly how things have to go. How can you know? You just know. That takes arrogance. You can't be horribly worried without being proud. You can't be terribly bitter without being proud. Pride leads to being opinionated, which everybody doesn't like. But pride also leads to being indecisive, because that's the inferiority form. You're just afraid of making a wrong move and how you're going to look. You know, pride makes you too shy. That's the inferiority form. Pride makes you too abrasive. That's the superiority form. And that's just the personal stuff. Then there's the social evils, and all the great social evils. Racism and injustice and imperialism all come from class pride or racial pride, or overweening national pride. And this week, some young man's going to be gunned down on the streets of New York, and what will the cause be? Pride. That's what so many of them are. Maybe that's what most of them are. It's not all. Pride makes you a fool. Pride makes you evil. That's not all. Let me tell you something else that makes it deadly. On top of everything else, as bad as pride is, it's the one sin that hides itself. Pride is the carbon monoxide of sin, killing you without you having any ability to tell it's happening. It's odorless. See, by definition, the more proud you are, and therefore the more in its clutches you are, the less proud you think you are. See? Pride hides itself. Look, you know when you're committing adultery, right? You never say, oh my gosh, you're not my wife. No, you know when you're committing adultery. You know when you're embezzling somebody. You don't say, oh, how did that $300,000 get into my bank account? So it's, I don't make that much every year. No, see, you know when you're embezzling. You know when you're doing lust. You know when you're doing embezzlement. You don't know when you're proud. Virtually nobody ever comes and says, I'm proud. I've got a problem with pride. I've listened to all kinds of sins confessed to me over the years. I don't think anybody ever come and told me about that one. And let me show you just how inescapable it is. Joseph Epstein, in his book on pride, says, so many people hate snobs. They just hate snobs. But you can only hate snobs if you feel superior to them. Which means hating snobbery is a form of snobbery.